Welcome once again to Real Shame, a show where we talk about movies that we have yet to see, or movies from our movie blind spots, or list of shame, hence the name Real Shame. I'm Adam.
I'm Andy.
And this week we're coming at you with some very I was gonna say like prudent films, some very like a big movie came out last week that we're gonna review. So before we always jump into those reviews, we always like to talk about what we've been watching. So Andy, what have you been watching?
So I don't remember how long ago it was, or actually it may be in the future. I don't know. We filled some episodes out of order, but I watched Who's Harry Crumb with John Candy.
Yep.
And I don't know if I've actually said that in an episode yet, but I will say it if I haven't already said it. But I watched some other John Candy comedies that one I had seen, one I had never seen. The one that I had seen, so as a rewatch for me, is called The Great Outdoors.
Okay.
That's got John Candy as well as Dan Aykroyd. And Annette Bening plays Dan Aykroyd's wife. This was before she was very well known.
I think I remember like the box art for The Great Outdoors, but I don't think I've ever seen it.
It's another one of those movies, from the 80s that it's not amazing, but it's a good kind of time waster film. It's funny enough. There's like a bear that's like got its the top of its fur shaved off because he shot it, and it's crazy. There's two twin girls that Dan Aykroyd has. They're kind of creepy or whatever. But yeah, it's just a fun little time waster, I guess is the best way to put it. And then another John Candy movie that I watched. This one's got a little bit more of an all-star cast. It's got John Candy, Jim Belushi, Sybil Shepherd, Sean Young, and Richard Lewis. Is that his name? The guy that's always doing like this. He's like, and it's directed by Eugene Levy. It is a comedy, and it's awful. It's really, really terrible. I didn't find any of it funny. And it does not have a good like IMDb score or anything like that. So I kind of knew that it was probably going to be bad, but I didn't expect it to be as bad as it was.
And what movie is that?
Oh, sorry, Once Upon a Crime.
Okay. I
went on and on about the cast. Once Upon a Crime.
I've never heard of this movie.
I had never seen it. And I don't think I'd heard of it until recently. But I wish I never would have heard of it because it's awful. So don't ever watch Once Upon a Crime. It's not funny at all. And obviously it has John Candy. Sorry, I don't think I mentioned him. So two John Candy movies that I watched. Great Outdoors, good, fun to revisit. Once Upon a Crime, don't watch, or watch at your own risk because it's awful.
Yep.
What have you been watching?
So Marvel just completed its WandaVision series, which I talked about, not very eloquently, but I did on one of our shows. And then they start up with their new one, which is The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Mm-hmm. So, since that one closely ties into the movies, a little bit more so, I would say, than WandaVision, because there's cast and characters from there, and there's, plot points and stuff like that come from it. Kirby and I decided to go in and revisit some of the big releases, temples of that universe that involve Sam Wilson and Bucky himself. Mm-hmm. So we watched Captain America Winter Soldier, which I think it's my favorite of the MCU movies, followed closely by the Avengers. Captain America Civil War, which is good. Mm-hmm. And then we watched Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. So watched a whole bunch of that stuff. And, we enjoyed our time spending there. I know you're a little superheroed out, but
definitely.
I enjoy dipping my toes into the water. And I think someone's mowing a lawn outside, so you guys might hear that on the podcast. But that's neither here nor there. Let's talk about the big green lizard in the room, and the movie we're going to review today is
Godzilla. Oh no,
Godzilla.
There goes Tokyo. Go Godzilla. In the immortal words of Blue Oyster Cult. All right, hydrogen bomb testing near Odo Island unleashes a giant monster upon the people of Japan. The military, the scientists, and other people that are in influence have to make a decision as to how to either contain or subdue or possibly even kill this mysterious creature. But can they even kill this giant beast who they call Godzilla? All right, so we chose to do Godzilla because, well, first of all, we did King Kong, the OG original King Kong from 1933 last year, and because last week Godzilla versus Kong came out, we decided because you had never seen the original, the one that started it all, the original Godzilla from 1954, that we would do that as a precursor to doing, big spoiler, but we're going to do Godzilla versus Kong. So yeah, that's what we did. This is a movie that I have seen once before, so this is my second time watching the original Godzilla. So you haven't seen the original Godzilla, and you haven't seen outside of like the new films and the Matthew Broderick one that we also did last year that we paired with King Kong.
Yeah,
I haven't seen really any of the other Godzilla.
I have not seen either. I had a friend, Steve, who's big into Godzilla and the kaiju movies and stuff. And I remember like Shin Godzilla, which I think you've seen.
Yeah, and I didn't care for it.
But I hear good things about that. I hear it doesn't focus a lot on Godzilla in that.
Not really, yeah.
And I think there was like a Godzilla reboot that happened like in the early 2000s that was pretty well received. I don't know if it had a name to it other than Godzilla, but I know that was pretty big. But yeah, I've only seen the Matthew Broderick one, and then what I talked about in the prior episodes, which was Godzilla King of the Monsters and the 2014 Godzilla. So I have not seen a Toho original Godzilla before until earlier this week. Yes.
All right. So, well, let's just dive into it.
Yeah. Overall, I liked it. I thought it was pretty interesting, pretty cool. If I'm comparing it to the 1933 King Kong, which I don't know if you should or shouldn't.
It's hard not to.
It's not as good.
Yeah.
And I think the effects are kind of cool and they're interesting. I think there's a lot of I have a lot of goodwill towards this movie because it's just such a classic and it's just so cool. So there's like a lot of things that I really want to like this movie and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And that's all into play. But I think it's overall really slow, and I think that's much to its detriment. So I found myself just kind of like checking out a little bit during the movie just because it was just the pace was just so languid and stuff like that. And I think the other thing that kind of, it's not really going against it, but that I wasn't really expecting is it seemed to be more focused on the people than it is on Godzilla himself. Like, I feel like, and it's been a couple days since I've seen it, so maybe I'm misremembering it, but I feel like we don't see a whole lot of Godzilla. We don't get a whole lot of Godzilla in this movie, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like it's more focused on the people and stuff like that and going on, and the scientists, and this girl who's dated like 2 different scientists and all that kind of stuff. So so overall I kind of liked it, but I don't think it's as cool. I didn't have the same kind of awesome reaction I did to King Kong, when we saw that. But I enjoyed it, and I just felt like it just felt the pace was a little slow for my taste.
Yeah.
But you said this is your second time seeing it, so what'd you remember from the last time you saw it, and what'd you feel about it this time going into it?
Not much. The first time that I saw it, because Criterion put out this version, or the original Godzilla, it's been a while, a few years ago, maybe 2012, something like that. And I got a copy of that, and I watched it because I'd never seen it. And then now they've actually put out the Showa era of films. It's like a box set that includes, I believe, this film. Well, it would have to include this film because this is the first film. It includes this film and all the other films that are in the Showa era. And I think that takes them up to 1975.
What's the Showa era?
It's like an era in Japanese filmmaking. Okay. It coincides with the Emperor Hirohito. I think when he died, maybe that's the end of the Showa era, something like that.
Interesting.
I believe is what I read. I hope that I'm saying that right. But yeah, it takes from 1954 all the way up to 1975. I don't remember what the era is called after that, but the Showa era is put out by Criterion, and I actually have that too. I meant to bring it today so I could do a little show and tell, but I forgot. Oh well, you can look it up on the internet, or you might own it. But I haven't dived into any of the other Godzilla films. This is the only one that I've watched. So I watched it when I got in 2012 or whatever, and watched it recently, obviously. I feel about the same way as you do, and I've felt about the same way both times that I've seen it. It's hard not to compare it to King Kong.
Yeah.
Because we did watch that last year, and they're both classic monster,
yeah.
Classic giant monsters, and obviously Godzilla versus Kong just came out, and we're going to talk about that on Wednesday. But, so King Kong, It is a little slow kind of getting going, but the characters are really colorful. I feel like the Carl Denham character and the Fay Ray character and all those people. And there, there's some good stuff going on even when King Kong is not there. And once King Kong does finally arrive, the rest of the movie is pretty much action packed.
Yeah.
And there's tons of all that stop motion and just all the different special effects that they do. And it's very, very thrilling to watch. This movie is very slow. And yeah, they don't. I mean, yes, you do see Godzilla tear some shit up, but not enough for my taste. I mean, it's just not as exciting as King Kong. And like you said, I mean, maybe it's unfair to compare the two, but I couldn't help it. I mean, the whole time I'm watching Godzilla, I'm just like, yeah, this is just so slow. So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much in agreement with you. I mean, I want more Godzilla. I want more special effects. I want more stuff like that. Again, the stuff that's there is good. And like you, I also have a lot of goodwill towards this film. I can't say it's a bad film. It's not a bad film. But I'm very underwhelmed by it. Yeah. So yeah, I'm right there with you, buddy.
All right.
Right there with you.
I'm glad we're on the same page.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, even for me, like it's hard to like pick out like specific plot points that I want to talk about and all that kind of stuff, just because it's just like it's good, but it's just nothing like really stands out or nothing. There's no like, oh, that one exciting scene that kind of happened and stuff like that. And maybe, there's a lot of Godzilla enthusiasts that are watching this that are screaming at us, saying that we're wrong or this part is really cool. So, I mean, let us know. You can leave a comment if you're watching this on YouTube or shoot us an email, realshame@gmail.com, and let us know what your favorite things are in the Godzilla, from the original Godzilla. And, I do want to kind of check out some of the other Toho Godzilla movies, Godzilla versus Mothra versus Ghidorah versus Mechagodzilla versus everyone, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people, first of all, so King Kong is just kind of a thrilling action movie. I know Godzilla is meant to be viewed more as not only just a monster movie, but also kind of as a commentary on, nuclear testing and that kind of thing. I mean, this movie came out less than just shy of 10 years after the bombing of Hiroshima and the bombing of Nagasaki, that ended World War II, essentially. So I know that there's a lot kind of going on, a lot of subtext there that we're meant to see, and it's not lost on me. But still, I mean, at the end of the day, I want to see more of kind of an action-packed monster film. And I understand, again, there's a lot of subtext and whatnot to kind of glean from the movie, but I don't. Yeah. I don't get into that, I guess, as much as maybe I should, and I should probably read up a little bit more on the movie and kind of what they're trying to say. But essentially, yeah, I mean, it's just kind of slow.
Yeah, I agree. And the one thing that kind of stands out as you're talking, I was kind of thinking about the movie a little bit, is that the way they try to kill Godzilla in this movie, spoilers, but hey, we always spoil movies that we kind of talk about on our main episodes, is that he's like coming up with that oxygen oxygenator, oxygen destroyer and stuff. But I'm like, isn't that like nuclear fission, right? To separate like water atoms, that's like what the sun does, right? That's like nuclear fission kind of stuff. And I think if you separate all so you have,
what do I look like, Bill Nye?
Yeah. So you have like hydrogen dioxide, right? Which is water, right? H2O or dihydrogen oxygen, I think, whatever. Obviously, you can tell by that where I am with science. But
excuse me.
But isn't, if you take all the oxygen out, then all you're left with like hydrogen, and isn't hydrogen like a gas? Like how does it stay liquid? That's my question.
I don't know. Yeah. You're getting too deep into the science of Godzilla for me.
No, it's just one of those things that just like made me stop and think. I'm like, okay, wait. A, this sounds like nuclear fission, and B, if you take all the oxygen out, then how are you gonna have water? Or how are you gonna have liquid? But I understand. I do kind of like now that I'm thinking about it, I do like that ending where they are kind of in the water, and then the guy with the eye patch. Do you remember his name?
Is it Serizawa?
Maybe it's Serizawa.
Maybe.
He goes down there, and then I like the way that's kind of shot, where you see Godzilla, and they kind of use like fog to kind of simulate underwater and stuff like that. Like I remember that kind of being really cool. And then when he's hit the device, it was just like bubbles galore and stuff like that. But overall, I kind of liked it. I thought it was cool.
All right, so I didn't write down the director or any of the cast because you probably would not know them anyway, except one guy, Takashi Imura, plays Dr. Yamane, and he is very well known in Japanese cinema because he was in 21 of Akira Kurosawa's films.
Oh,
A
wow.
lot of Akira Kurosawa's big, heavy hitter films like Rashomon, Seven Samurai, Ikiru, etc., etc., etc. So that guy is definitely a familiar face, at least to me. I don't really know anybody else that's in the movie, but
Yeah.
maybe I should. But yeah, he's definitely of note. So 93% rotten, 93% rotten, 93% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, 89% audience score. So this came out obviously well before Siskel and Ebert had any kind of show. But I did read that Ebert was not a fan of this film.
Interesting.
So yeah, I read that he gave it 1.5 stars. I didn't, but honestly, I didn't find a review of it on RogerEbert.com, so I don't know where that review came from. I saw that on some other site, so hopefully that's accurate. But and then Leonard Maltin gave it 3 stars. And one thing I was going to say though, also about it is that so it was obviously it was released in Japan in 1954, but then they kind of recut some of it and released it in America, I think 2 years later, as Godzilla King of the Monsters, and they edited in some footage of Raymond Burr, like he's a part of the cast, the guy that played Perry Mason, and I've actually seen that because I want to say maybe that's also on the Criterion disc. I think you can watch both versions. I think I've watched that one as well.
Interesting.
But I mean, again, it's kind of a repackaging of Godzilla from 1954, edited in with an American guy, so it makes it more palatable to American audiences of 1956. So anyway, you can watch that as well. Godzilla or Godzilla King of the Monsters, either version, but stick with the original, I would say.
Not knowing the other one, I would agree.
Yeah.
So we kind of spoiled a little bit what we're going to pair this with, but what movie did we choose to pair this with? And why?
Because now we've done the original King Kong and we've done the original Godzilla, and Godzilla vs. Kong came out on HBO Max last week, and I guess it's in theaters too, right?
Yeah, I think it's both.
You can also see it in theaters if you go to theaters these days. But we watched it on HBO Max.
We did.
And we're going to talk about that, Godzilla vs. Kong. Godzilla vs. Kong on Wednesday.
Fight of the Century, Rumble of the Jungle.
That's right. We're
so,
going to talk about that on Wednesday.
All right, so stay tuned to those Wednesday episodes when we talk about Godzilla versus King Kong. Like I said earlier, if you've seen this original Godzilla and you feel differently, or if you have your favorite scene or your favorite Toho Godzilla monster movie, let us know. Leave a comment down below if you're watching us on YouTube, or shoot us an email, realshame@gmail.com. On these Wednesday episodes, we answer viewers' questions, and we need viewers' questions. So please shoot us an email, realshame@gmail.com. Any kind of question would be really cool for us to answer, and we will be happy to do so. And we're also on social media. We're on Instagram @realshame. And like, subscribe, share, do all the social media stuff, because it really does help spread the word of the show, and we really do appreciate that. And stay tuned in a couple of days when we cross the new movie off our list of shame. Would a new movie on a list of shame? I don't know.
Well,
we cross.
We did Onward and Invisible Man and stuff. So
as we cross Godzilla versus King Kong off our list of shame, and we'll see you soon, guys. Bye.